So this week for my book, I chose Brown Girl Dreaming. Maybe it's not a typical book that I actually would have picked out. My library is kind of limited, but I'm actually glad that I did get this book because it is about Jacqueline Woodson, who grew up in the South and the North in the 1960s and 1970s. It's a very long book, but it's a bunch of short verses about what she went through in that time in her life. At the beginning of the book, one of the things I really loved was that it had her family tree, and it went clear back to when there was slavery in her family. Um, this book addresses segregation, racism, Christianity. It talks about divorce, sickness, death. So a lot of really complex, um, what do I want to say, complex situations that people or children have to deal with in everyday life. So there are lessons, but she does them in little short books, verses. There are not illustrations in this book. At the very end of the book, there are family pictures of what she goes through, just family pictures of the different people in her life. Um, One of the things I shared in my reflection was one of the pages that really stood out to me, and I don't know, maybe it kind of reminded me of my sister, was the paint eater. It said, "In the night in the corner of the bedroom, the four of us share, comes a picking of plaster, paint gone come morning. My younger brother Roman can't explain why paint melting on his tongue feels good. Still, he eats the paint and plaster until a white hole grows where pale green paint used to be. And too late we catch him, his fingers in his mouth and his lips are covered in dust." So, you know, they were Jehovah Witnesses, so they had rules that people didn't, her friends didn't understand. There are just different poems about some things. One morning, late winter. Then one morning, grandfather is too sick to walk the half mile to the bus that takes him to work. He stays in bed for the whole day, waking only to cough and cough and cough. I walk slow around him, fluffing his pillows, pressing cool washcloths over his forehead, telling him stories that come to me again and again. This I can do, find him another place to be when this world is choking him. Tell me a story, he says, and I do. So there are just so many different things. One of them was what God knows, and it's when she prays for her grandfather who was sick. Um, but she, like this one, football dreams. No one was faster than my father on the football field. No one could keep him from crossing the line. Then touchdown again. Coaches were watching the way he moved, his easy strides, his long arms reaching up, snatching the ball from its soft pocket of air. My father dreamed football dreams and woke to a scholarship at Ohio State University, grown now living the big city life in Columbus, just 60 miles from Nelsonville, and from there, Interstate 70 could get you on your way west to Chicago. Interstate 77 could take you south. So she uses these little verses, poems, how you want to look at them, about just the different days in her life and growing up in both different places. It's a very good book. It's long, but it's worth reading.